All right, let's get right into it. On October 28, 2025, EASA dropped a critical safety update for the Airbus H160-B fleet, Airworthiness Directive 2025-0242. Now, this one's a big deal because it tackles a potential flight control issue. So in this briefing, we're going to break down exactly what you, as an operator, need to know and what you need to do to stay compliant.
So here's what we'll cover. We'll start with the root cause, what's actually going on here, and see which helicopters are on the list. Then we'll walk through the temporary actions you need to take right away, talk about the permanent fix, and wrap up with how to make sure you're fully compliant.
So what's really driving this directive? Well, it all boils down to a potential unsafe condition involving the multifunction displays, or MFDs. Let's dig into the specifics.
You know, after looking into several in-service display failures, investigators pinpointed the issue right at the core of the aircraft's brain, the Helionix avionics suite. And here's the interesting part. The problem isn't actually with the displays themselves. Nope, it's a design deficiency in how the Helionix system manages its Ethernet network. What that means is something as small as minor damage to a wire could create a domino effect, leading to a major MFD failure.
And EASA is not mincing words here. The official language really gets to the point. Reduced situational awareness, possibly resulting in reduced control of the helicopter. Let that sink in. This isn't just some annoying avionics glitch we're talking about. This is a fundamental flight safety issue, plain and simple.
Okay, so who does this actually apply to? Which helicopters are we talking about? EASA has been very specific on this one.
This ad is aimed squarely at the Airbus H160-B model, but not all of them, only a specific list of serial numbers. If you're an operator, this is probably a good time to hit pause and check your fleet serial numbers against this list right here. You've got to know if this applies to you.
Now, while we wait for the permanent fix, EASA isn't just having us sit around. They've mandated a series of interim actions. And let's be crystal clear, these are not suggestions. They're mandatory requirements to deal with the risk right now.
So, what does this interim plan look like? It's basically a four-step process. First, you've got to do an initial check of the IMA Ethernet network. After that, you're on the hook for repetitive checks, at least every 110 flight hours. And this next part is absolutely critical. If you find anything wrong, you must take corrective action before that helicopter flies again. No exceptions.
Another huge piece of this interim plan is amending the Rotorcraft Flight Manual. Operators had to add a specific emergency procedure for a loss of all MFD scenario. The goal here is pretty obvious. Make sure the flight crews are trained and ready to handle this exact failure if it ever happens.
So, what if your maintenance crew finds an issue but can't fix it right away? What then? Well, the AD is very clear on this. You have to implement an operational limitation immediately. We're talking no flying in IMC and no night VMC flights. On top of that, you have to put a placard right there in the cockpit spelling out the limitation, and it stays there until the problem is solved.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about the end game, the permanent solution. The interim checks are all about managing the risk, kind of like a Band-Aid. But the terminating action, that's about eliminating the risk for good. And the permanent solution is a software upgrade. By getting the helicopter modified to run Helionix V11 software, you're directly attacking the root cause. This update completely reworks the Ethernet network management logic that was causing all the trouble. This is the official terminating action, and the best part, once it's done, you can say goodbye to those repetitive 110-hour inspections.
Okay, let's look at the timeline. The big one to circle on your calendar is the deadline for the Helionix V11 mod. You've got 31 months after November 11, 2025 to get it done. That gives you a decent window to plan things out. But remember, it's not just the software. There are other things you have to do at the same time, like another RFM amendment and updating your maintenance program.
All right, let's tie all this together. You've got these interim steps and a final terminating action. It's pretty clear that getting to full compliance is going to take some serious coordination and planning. At the end of the day, the buck stops with the operator. It's your responsibility to ensure full compliance. That means hitting every single deadline. It also means getting your teams, camo, planning, maintenance, and even your commercial folks all on the same page. You've got to coordinate to manage downtime and costs effectively. And don't forget the pilots. Keeping your flight crews in the loop on all those RFM changes is just as crucial.